Joan Quinn Profiles. As an editor for Andy Warhol's Interview, the Los Angeles Herald-Examiner, LA Style, and Detour magazines, Joan covered the social set, the Hollywood hotshots, the international art scene, the mysteries of food, the excitement of travel, and the fabulous world of fashion. Joan continues to find creative people on the cutting edge who make things happen. Here's Joan Quinn.
Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome to the Joan Quinn Profiles. Our guests waiting to be profiled are gallery director Amanda Shore and actress Carla Collins. Amanda Shore, an expert in Victorian-era art, is the director of the Cambridge Art Gallery. Amanda, did you go to school to become a director, or did you go to school to study the Victorian period?
I actually was a private collector for about 12 years before I opened my gallery, and I pretty much studied everything I bought, so I became my own teacher.
Oh, is that what happened?
Yes, yes.
So you don't have to go to director school. How do you know how to run a gallery?
I guess if you really love and believe in what you do, I think anything is achievable, and it's proof in the pudding, so to speak. Cambridge Art Gallery has barely been open for 2 years and is known internationally, and has been very successful in the past.
Why did you pick, I guess you picked it because you started collecting it. Why did you start collecting it? Did your family collect it? Did you have any art background?
My family have been in the antique dealers world since I was born, before I was born, and I've always been around the most fascinating homes and the most amazing furniture and textiles and pottery. And once I married my husband, we started collecting. It became an addiction, and I miss England with so much passion, and the paintings and its world just led me in, and it was just took off from there. So
where did you buy all of those paintings? All in Europe? All in England? Or
pretty much most of them actually are from Europe.
They are?
Yes, they are. And we were quite lucky to uncover a few here in the United States.
But who is in the Victorian era? Who would we talk about in that period?
Oh, there's so many to choose from. We have Sir John Everett Millais, who was an amazing artist from a very early age. He was the first to ever be accepted until now at the age of 11 years old as an artist, and his works are in all the most major museums across the world. Benjamin Williams Leader, a Victorian artist that was the most prolific and widely acclaimed of all Victorian landscape painters of his time. And the list is just so vast. So
do you specialize just in Victorian art?
No, that's just a little error from the 19th century. We pretty much specialize in the 19th century, and recently opened our contemporary gallery to represent artists of the living day.
Well, who would you represent from the 19th century, and then let's talk about how it juxtaposes against the contemporary art that you have. So you have dead artists and live artists.
Yeah, that's what happened in the first year after studying just so much on all the artists of the past. It just led me into wanting to know what's happening with the artists today. Where are they going? Who are they being led by? Because once you study the artists of yesterday, what happens is you're lucky some of them carried amazing journals, like Benjamin Williams Leader. Some of them have amazing books written about them, so it makes your job a lot easier because you can go through the books and learn about the artists. And many of them dated their work, so that really helps to build the provenance and the history of the painting. And today, once I'd get the living artists come in, oh, could you represent my works and so forth. And listening to them, none of them really thought about their future. Do you want to become a part of history? Because these guys from the early period, they wanted to be part of history.
Are they plein air painters?
Plein air painting, yes, they are. Pretty much all of them are.
So in California, we have a big school of plein air painters. The California Art Association has a big group. But is that the kind of painting you would be interested in, landscape?
Well, funny you should bring that up. I've just recently taken on an artist called Paul Panosian, an Armenian artist. and my husband being Armenian, and seeing his works that do reflect a similarity to Benjamin Williams' Leader.
I'm going to hold the leader up while you're talking. And there's a leader behind you.
Yes, yes.
Beautiful.
Now, Benjamin Williams' Leader is a phenomenal artist. He painted the truth of England. He is an artist that you could see any of his paintings and say, yes, that's Leader. And that is why what makes painters so unique is they have to have a unique appeal to their audience. Yes.
But if I looked at something like that, I would think of Constable, because Constable is the only landscape artist from that period that I would know about. Is there a similarity?
Yeah,
is there
Constable...
or he's earlier, I guess.
Yeah, he is earlier, but Benjamin Williams' Leader was inspired by Constable. Constable, unfortunately, was an artist that did not have much acclaim in his lifetime. He sold about 20 paintings in England.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, just 20 paintings. And you think, why is Constable so successful?
But did he
Great PR.
But did he paint a lot? Are there a lot of paintings?
He did. He painted mainly in his studios. He painted, and there's amazing collections going around the country today, and we'll end up at the Huntington Library.
Oh, it's going to the Huntington, that's right. And when I was talking to David Hockney in London, his landscapes, which are contemporary landscapes, are going to be compared.
Yes, that's right.
To Constable.
And so Verney, that's quite, and that's quite unique actually.
That's why I'm asking you, how do you get a contemporary landscape person compared to something that is so fine and has such a different kind of look?
Well, I particularly liked Paul Panosian's works mainly because he is driven. He's born to be an artist. He's driven, his brushstrokes, everything about him, he just goes against the grain.
Does he paint here?
He does. He paints in Santa Barbara.
Okay. Oh, I see.
And he's never been represented by a gallery before, so it's quite unique to actually take an artist and present him to the world and on the path to becoming part of art history, which is a lot of the artists' goals, is that they do paint to be part of history. And
but we're talking about the Victorian era. Was there a scene? Was it like the contemporary painters from Venice, California, painters from downtown LA, Soho in New York? Is there a group? Was there a group in the Victorian period?
The Victorian era, it was Ruskin actually who asked a number of painters, Millais being one of them, Gainsborough, to go out and paint nature is best, paint the truth of what they saw. And he kind of started something that led to Leader doing what he did. And Leader was the only painter that painted England wet. Now we all know that England rains constantly.
Right.
And as you can see with the painting behind me, Leader painted the wettest painting of all England.
To make it look like it was raining, to make it look like... What about the painting in front?
Now, Constable, the Haywain, is we all know when we look at Constable that this was his most depicted scene.
This one in front,
and Leader contributed that painting to Constable. And because of his admiration and because of his influence of Constable, he actually met Constable at the age of 7 years old.
Is that right?
Yes, and Constable died shortly after that.
Do you look at art as an investment? I mean, do you have your collectors buy art as an investment, or just to buy art because they love the piece?
Well, the investment is what it does to you, what it gives you. Now, I look at
That's what I believe.
And it's just you can put any price tag you want, but at the end of the day, what does a painting do for you? Where is it going to lead you? I know I miss England like there's no tomorrow. I love England, and his paintings just take me straight back there, and that's what those works do to me. The investment, you have to make sure that it is in the perfect condition. You have to make sure it has great provenance, where, you know.
And how do we know that? From someone like you?
Yeah, what we do with this particular collection is the largest collection of Benjamin Williams Leader's works in the world. And we, nothing goes upon the gallery walls unless it's gone to a conservator, number one. And every painting has been authenticated by the leading specialist in the world, which is Ruth Wood, who wrote that lovely book.
The
Life in Paintings. Yes, it is. She wrote this wonderful book that actually invited me into Leader's life on a more personal level. She takes notes from his diaries and sheds it through the pages, and you read it and you become one with the artist and what he believed and what his day was like an artist. And he talks about the Royal Academy, and he was
Do you guide your collectors through certain artists or what to look for?
Well, what we do is that's quite unique about Cambridge Art Gallery is that we go back and we reinvestigate art history. We really do, and nothing really was taken out of the Victorian era, and that's where landscape painters were at their most best, I believe. And I take this artist who was the most acclaimed in his lifetime, but yet, where did he go after that? It's kind of been pondering along, and we took him out of that and said, there you are. And it's a great collection. He's an artist that can be collected by collectors. And it's not something that, like Turner, can you get Turners today?
Thing.
You can't get Turners, you can't get Constables.
Oh, I see.
So you have collectors. You can buy Leader. They will be coming up at the market.
Hand me this because I want to show a couple of other things that you, the landscapes.
What Leader does with his paintings, he went to Wales and the Lake District, and all the great landscape painters went up there and did their thing.
Do they paint outside just like plein air painters?
Well, Constable did not, actually. He painted mostly in his studio, but Leader did. He actually went outside and he painted.
Here, this is great. So
yes,
many of these things remind me of California artists.
Oh, yes, they do. And because they are plein air, they go out and it's the Barbizon period. That's where it all started from.
That's what
Go out and paint what you see. The impression. What's your impression of a great landscape?
But
what do you see?
Do you like the Barbizon period as well?
Oh, I do. We did an exhibition last year.
Oh, I was wondering, what else do you exhibit?
My first exhibition was for the gallery, for Cambridge Art Gallery, was my Barbizon exhibition.
I see.
Love Barbizon. I love the life that they all led.
That's a big school and well known to us because they were closer to our period, right?
Exactly. But unforgotten. It's an unforgotten. It's like as soon as those guys did their thing, the Monet and the Picassos took over, and it was a lost era, so to speak. It's yet to have its heyday.
Here's a lovely village.
Oh, yeah, Worcestershire cottages. Actually, that's a phenomenal painting. The way he reflects the water, the light, the clouds, and he takes you straight into the painting. And what he does, which is quite unique, which Constable did, is with the little red jacket and the little white pants, you'll go there and then you'll go straight back into the back of the painting. It's just phenomenal. I love his works. And the little smoke that you get in the chimneys that are coming out, the reflection of the
and the
water.
Animals. I see the animals and things like that.
He did that to give the painting life, because, okay, you can do a landscape, but you've got to have life in them. You have to have a bit of some animals. You have to have the humanity in them. So
and that's what we see when we go out into the field.
Exactly, and he did that. He depicts it all.
I think you've shown us what to look for, which is great. A lot of times you'll look at a piece of art and you won't see anything. So we know what to look for now.
Yes.
And I thank you so much for coming in today.
Much. It was a pleasure.
And
thank you for inviting me.
Thanks for watching this part of the Joan Quinn Profiles. We'll be right back with actress Carla Collins. Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome back to the Joan Quinn Profiles. Carla Collins, who was born and raised in Ontario, Canada, is an award-winning comedian, TV host, actor, and writer. She went to the University of Western Ontario and studied in France. Did you start acting in Canada?
Absolutely. Well, really right out of the womb, I've been acting.
Oh, yeah.
I was pretending to like my parents, a lot of stuff.
I saw that in your show. Did you work in comedy clubs, or how did you actually get started then after school?
Well, actually,
or before school.
I know. Who really knows the exact background? Because I'm not bogged down by, facts, Joan. So I'll really just
you
say
make
anything.
Up anything.
I make up a lot. I have a very rich fantasy life, as you know. I actually did a series of speeches and won all these speech competitions and did a lot of little theater in high school and university theater. But I did my degree in languages. You know, just because I'm eldest born and wanted to be respectful. And I think you always go back to what you love. And I was actually in Montreal, Canada, my first television job working on the Weather Channel.
Oh, you did?
I did.
I was going to ask you what you did on TV.
Well, that was my very first job, yes. I was an on-air meteorologist.
Did you audition for that?
I sure did. I was thrilled.
Well, that's why we have Jillian Barbary here, because she was from
right.
Canada, and she's like 6 feet tall like you. And
We're all Amazons.
I know.
Yes,
and bosomy.
and we've all had work. You know, it's
No, I love
they've
your line.
approved of a lot of things in Canada.
More work than the 405. That was. I'm stealing that from you.
Do it. I mean, that's not me, of course. That's one of my alter egos.
I see.
I'm clearly a natural Ivory girl.
I see.
But yeah.
So did you work at comedy clubs too?
I did. I was working on the Weather Network and cracking jokes, and my boss actually urged me. And I was just, I'll be honest, just getting drunk at a bar in Montreal and making my friends laugh. And the owner of the local comedy club asked if I would come and try it. So
you went to that, and then did you go back to TV? Were you hosting a show
I did.
after that?
I did mostly television in Canada. I hosted the Entertainment Tonight of Canada.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
And you have a lot of entertainers up there and a lot of U.S. people coming and going. Did you meet all of those people?
I sure did. Actually, that was the only part of the job I enjoyed. I didn't like wearing the pastel suits and having to read a teleprompter, which I'm really not that great at.
I didn't see you doing that.
But the interviewing's wonderful. And yeah, I really got to interview all of the huge stars. So that was a real blessing.
When you were performing in the clubs, did you write your own material or did someone collaborate with you?
I actually have 2 older French-Canadian women writing all of my stuff, and I wear an earpiece. No, I actually...
I'm believing you.
I know. I love that
Really?
about you. You're so sincere, but I'm evil.
You saw me sitting in your show in the first row going, wow, did that really happen?
Well, actually, I'm a very lazy writer, so most of my material is very truth-based. I actually think comedy works when it comes from an honest place, and you're, by the way, the best audience member we had. I'd like you at the show every night now that it's starting up again, if you wouldn't mind.
It's at the Zephyr Theater.
It's at the Zephyr Theater on
I saw it at the Globe.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is great. The
It's
Globe has a
magical.
wonderful history.
It
So I
really
enjoyed
does.
sitting there watching you, because I used to take my 6-year-olds to the Globe on Saturday mornings for theater.
Oh, well, you shouldn't take them to my show.
No, I don't think so.
You know, it's for me. I do it for the children. The children love my stuff. But no, I always wrote my own stuff. I do have a writing partner now, who's a young boy, and I think you should always have a young boy near you.
Tell me what your show is called, because it's, or can we say it on the air?
Gosh, I hope so. The Visionary Position.
And tell me a little bit about it.
Your camera guy's giggling.
I know.
I'm dating him.
You're dating my camera guy?
Yeah, I wanted to wait for the right moment to tell you, Joan.
See, he's like covering his
Well,
face.
there's a lot of sexual tension, and I just wanted to be upfront about it.
But the one good thing, not the one good thing, the one good thing about your show is you.
There's one good.
But you use so many different elements. You use a big TV screen, you use cartoons, you use drawings. It's fascinating the way you've put it all together.
Well, I think we live in an age that I'm just assuming that most people have adult ADD like me, like, oh, something shiny. There's a fly in the studio. I can barely focus on you.
Exactly.
But
in 2 seconds, attention spans, right?
Well, because it's the whole, video game generation. But I also think that I didn't want just to have a chick and a chair. And it's usually that. It's a woman having the occasional glass of water.
Right.
And I thought that this would be, if you don't like something new is coming up, and we're living in a multimedia age. So I thought that would be neat.
But did you have a choreographer do all that,
I
or
had
did the
Paula
director?
Abdul, actually.
Paula did it? She came in?
She did. She's terrific. Tiny, though. Could fit in my purse. And we did a lot of very eccentric, eclectic dance moves, and we used some lasers.
Oh, you danced too, didn't
I do dance,
you?
actually.
Yeah,
I started
that's
as a
right.
dancer. And I don't mean stripper, by the way, because I find when I tell people I started as a dancer, they're like, really?
Well, don't you say you were a stripper?
No.
You
I was
don't.
not. Well, I was, one of my characters may have been. I can't be responsible for
I
what.
forgot. How many characters do you have?
Well, the ones that I'm introducing you to now in this show, 4 of them. I have four
You
of
have
my
four
imaginary
usually?
friends, and then myself.
So you start the show with your imaginary friends say this and that, and then you go into it, and then we see a flat screen, and then we see you with a head mic. I mean, you're like a rock star.
Oh, I love
What are you doing that?
Well, the head mic is because I do have really quick changes, as you may remember from the show. So that way, when I'm putting on various wigs and bustiers and outfits, it just stays there, and I don't have to worry about a handheld. And
Oh,
it
is
just
that
gives me a little
why?
more freedom,
Oh,
and because I
see.
like to think that I'm the white Janet Jackson.
Is that the thing?
Yeah.
Or the Madonna?
The Madonna. Well, as you know from the show, I think that my show has more Madonna references than even any gay reviews, and that's saying something.
Before she was back in the news again, right?
I'm going to adopt a baby from Africa too. I do everything she does. I'm Catholic, but a Kabbalist. Oh yeah.
Oh, you do it all.
I'm gonna marry a British guy.
So tell us about your characters, or are we seeing them all now?
Yes. Well, I really did have 72 imaginary friends when I was a child. I'm not well.
You had a red wig that I
Yes.
love.
Oh, is it Souffle? Souffle is she's a lingerie model. Some people would call her a French hoe. I say a bon vivant. She's the French stereotype. I'm French. I have a French background. And so she's a chain smoker, and she's rude and terrible. She's kind of the Kramer of my imaginary friends, a little bit one note. She's all about the sex.
She talks to the audience.
She does. Well, because none of my imaginary friends are supposed to be guiding me. They're supposed to be my spirit guides and giving me advice, but they tend to ignore me and just talk to you guys. I
And
don't know
then
why.
does the audience talk back to her? Does that throw you? I wondered about that.
No,
If
I
somebody-
love that.
Do you? You
I
can play
do.
off of that?
I like the danger of it, Joan. I do. I really like improvising. I like that the show is different every night. I usually welcome it.
You must change the show all the time because you have so many contemporary issues that you address. Are you rewriting all the time?
A lot, yeah. I have a very low boredom threshold, and it's an organic thing, and the audiences make it different. And if something happens in the news that's really relevant, I mean, pop culture. I mean, I'm
you
as deep
bring
as
it
a
up
lunch tray. Yeah,
no.
I'm not a terribly political comic, but yeah, I do like to keep the material fresh and.
And do you have to
Wonderful.
rehearse that before you go out? I mean, if something happened in the news today, I mean, if you mentioned me being on the show,
Sure.
do you go and rehearse it?
I should, but no, I don't.
You don't. You just pop it
do
up.
freestyle, yeah.
How do the people in the theater, your staff, keep up with you then?
Well, right now my director is my very dear friend. He's like my little brother and co-writer. So, we've been working together. We worked on a lot of Canadian television shows. I hope you're impressed. And so we know each other. And, people, it's like a pianist accompanying a
So he
singer.
knows?
He knows to run with it. And I make sure that I try to land my opening and closing like a gymnast so that I'm, I'll always hit that last line and try to keep that pretty regular so that.
Because the lighting has to work,
Exactly,
right?
yeah,
And the
so I don't mess
TV
around with that.
So you know where to start. You know how far you can go in between the beginning and the end?
Usually. Sometimes I need a Sherpa guide, I'll be honest. I have no sense of timing. One night the
Wait.
show ran 2 hours.
I was hoping it would run longer because it was just so good.
Well, it often does. Come again. Sometimes it lasts longer than my marriage. It really depends on how I'm feeling.
You talk about a Sherpa, but you also talk about a spirit guide. Tell us about the spirit guide that you mention in the show.
Well, my imaginary friends, the philosophy that I hear from a lot of people that there is no such thing as an imaginary friend, they're actually ghosts, and that children are quite receptive.
right.
And that I think we all have spirit guides. So the premise of the show is that these imaginary friends that were little girls when I was have all grown up and now act as my guardian angels, but they're pretty flawed.
So who are they?
Well, there was Souffle that I mentioned. There's Ziggy Santa Monica.
Those are the ones.
Those are my spirit guides.
I see. Ziggy Santa Monica. What does she do?
Women. She's New York, half Jewish, half Italian, very abrasive and very fearless, and that's one character I've been doing for years. Because I wish I was more like Ziggy.
How does she sound?
Ziggy, she needs gum, Listen, Carla, there's never the right time to have a baby. Well, unless you just slept with an NBA star and then ka-ching, that's a good time.
Then how does Souffle answer her?
I am bored.
Oh, she's
Stop
always
looking
bored.
at me. Look at me a little. You can't help it.
She's very bored.
She never smiles.
Who's the other guy?
Bunny McClenahan, who is a wealthy socialite. She's had more work than the 405. Bunny's a little bit older than us. Joan, I'm on a terrific diet right now. It's the authentic South Beach diet. Nothing but cocaine and bronzer. Look at me. I'm thinner than the plot of a Tom Clancy novel. And of course, I love the black gentleman.
Cocaine and bronzer?
Absolutely.
Oh, that's a good
It'll
one.
drop right off of you when you're on the authentic South Beach diet.
And the last one?
Starlight Mahoney.
Oh, she's a sweetie.
She is a doll. Hello, yes, I am the world's only stand-up psychic. Knock, knock. I know who's there.
That's right.
Shaka-ka.
She's the one who does herbology.
Yes.
So how would you read me? You do herbology readings.
I am a gifted herbologist, which I had to study for years in Liechtenstein under a monk. I was terribly uncomfortable. When were you born?
March.
So that means you were conceived in December.
Is that how you do it?
Well, yes, it's based on the date of your conception, which is a much better time.
I thought you were going to tell me what herbs I should be eating.
Well, I think that you should be eating a lot of paprika and dill, but you were born under the sign of parsley.
Pisces.
Parsley, yes.
Parsley.
Jonah, as a parsley, you are often found crawled up in the spoon fetal position on a plate.
That's great. It's so true.
I've got a gift, don't I?
You
Does that
do.
not sound like you?
Yeah, it's psychic. I can't believe it. So, what else are you doing? Are you doing TV work in LA?
I would like to do more TV work.
Are you doing more stage work?
I'm doing the show again. It's been extended for 3. I did get offered a role in a movie, so some dramatic work.
So is this why you're doing this? Is this a showcase for Carla Collins? Yes.
I would like to be all mysterious and say, no, it's for my art. No, I just want to work. I really am shameless. I just thought it would be, everybody's here. It's a one industry town. I mean, I'm from a steel town back in Northern Ontario. That was also one industry, but I think that everybody's here trying to do the same thing, so I thought if I could at least showcase, and because when I first moved to everybody's, well, you don't look like a comic, or they have all these ideas and perceptions of female comics. So I thought I would do the show, and I love doing it, and I thought it would show them that I could write, and of course I'm a very talented gangster rapper, as you heard when I was doing Bitches Be Shopping. That is a #1 selling tune.
Which one?
Bitches Be Shopping. That's the rap I did at the end.
Right.
And don't pretend like you don't have that album, Joan.
I do.
I know you support independent hip-hop artists. I can tell that about you as a parsley.
I play it when I go home.
Oh, I like your Crocs.
Oh, thank you.
Cool.
So,
see, I really am all over the map, aren't I?
you didn't learn any of this in school. I know that.
I hope not.
How did you actually learn what to do?
Gosh, I don't know that you do. I have a really funny family. My little brother is much funnier than I ever thought of being, but he's very shy and didn't work the system like his older sister.
I see.
And I don't know what I'd do without a sense of humor. Wouldn't we all just up and kill ourselves?
Yeah,
I just think it's so healing, and I like to talk about pop culture and spirituality, and I think comedy takes away your fears, and I think it's the best way to communicate. It's the closest line between two people. Do you want me to shut up?
I was so scared having you come on because I didn't think I'd get a word in, and I did. And thank you for coming. Thanks, Carla.
My pleasure.
And thanks for watching. Keep writing to 777 South Figueroa, 44th floor. What floor are we on? 90017.
I'm not talking.
You're not talking.
I'm not allowed to talk. I'm like an animal.